Moonletter Astrological Podcast.
New Moon in Leo, Solar Eclipse, 12th of August 2026. At the time of the new moon solar eclipse, there are 6 planets in fire signs. Leo is brimming over, not only with the sun and moon, but also Mercury and Jupiter. And when I say brimming over, I mean full of itself and taking time to enjoy the abundance of life. Regal Leo is supported by loyal retainers, Neptune and Saturn in Aries, Saturn granting the ability to take responsibility, particularly responsibility for decisions. Neptune appearing here as the PR guru and spin master, creating the positive narrative. Neptune is also backed by Venus in its own sign of Libra. This is a guileless Venus, whose charm allows others to fool themselves with ideals of beauty and harmony. But it's also a Venus influenced by Uranus, the transgressor, but whose innocence is part of a deception, the allure of a bad boy or femme fatale. Those who are risk-averse had better stay with their paints and paintbrushes in their pursuit of beauty. Those whose path leads them to enchantment will have tales to tell. But we need some balance in this almost Shakespearean play of kings, courtiers, and courtesans, and Pluto in Aquarius brings that balance to the drama, not necessarily as a villain or antagonist, but as the revealer of hidden motives, the denouement that brings the realization, this is just a play. The lack of planets in Earth signs at the time of the eclipse means it's up to each of us to look after the material world as a way of balancing ourselves, building, gardening, cleaning, cooking, checking the bank account, rearranging the furniture. These are all good ways of grounding and have the same natural earth magic as forest bathing or sculpting with clay. And then there's the solar eclipse, the moon moving in front of the sun, blocking it out. It's total if you happen to be in the eclipse path. Arctic, Greenland, Iceland, the Atlantic Ocean, northern Spain and the extreme northeastern part of Portugal. For others, outside the centrality of the eclipse path, Ireland, Great Britain, Portugal, France, Italy, the Balkans, and North Africa, and to a lesser extent in most of Europe, West Africa, and northern North America, the eclipse will be partial. I'm sure your local media will give you the details. Astrologically, at a solar eclipse, individual consciousness represented by the sun is hidden by the mass mind represented by the moon, as collective memory overrides individual consciousness. Plus, this eclipse takes place on the moon's south node, dealing with the karmic legacy of unfinished business, for every character in this drama has a backstory. Full moon in Pisces, partial lunar eclipse, 28th of August 2026. The sun in Virgo is illuminating the moon in Pisces, but the earth is in the way, casting a dramatic blood-red shadow on the moon. Virgo is an earth sign, bringing some practicality to proceedings after all the recent intensity of the fire signs. At the full moon, Virgoan consciousness is looking for patterns in the boundless sensibility of Pisces, but the earth is blocking, and the unconscious processes of the moon, instead of being illuminated and brought to consciousness by the light of the sun, remain unconscious, accessible only through quiet contemplation, through dreams, or through being aware of medicine signs. This full moon could be a fulcrum point, a pivot, if we can listen. This is emphasized by the square to both the sun and the moon from Uranus in Gemini. This is an inspiring Uranus, at home in the creative space between sleeping and waking. Psychologists describe this state when we are entering sleep as the hypnagogic state. The state when we're leaving sleep is known as the hypnopompic state. More poetically, they are twilight states that act like bridges between the unconscious and the conscious. With Uranus squaring the Sun and Moon, we're looking at an astronomical pattern known as a T-square. It's like a chair with only 3 legs, needing a 4th leg to be balanced. Here the balance point is in the sign of Sagittarius, the sign of the Archer. Sagittarius gives us a sense of direction, of a goal to aim for, and in this setup it gives us fresh perspectives, different from Pisces' cloud of everything, different from Virgo's need to analyze and organize, and different from Gemini's habit of overthinking. Sagittarius gives focus and direction. At the same time, Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, is in a strong angle with Saturn in Aries. This represents the working together of Jupiter's overview and positive thinking with Saturn's sense of responsibility and groundedness. A good time to get projects, including business projects, moving, especially with Mercury running direct and in its own sign of Virgo. For Virgo, as an earth sign, is essentially practical and has the ability to distinguish and sort out what it needs from what it doesn't.
And for more astrological and spiritual musings, check out moonletter.co.uk.